The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
CareerBuilder is made for people who have that thing. You know, those superpowers that make you good at your job, the skills you bring to work. And CareerBuilder knows those skills make you right for other jobs too. Higher paying jobs with benefits. Jobs you never thought of trying. Are you a people person? Work from home as a customer service rep? Are you organized and like driving? Become a delivery driver. You have the skills it takes, and CareerBuilder.com has the jobs to get you hired fast. Visit CareerBuilder.com.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Hey, we're back. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
Happy belated
Spring.
St. Patrick's Day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a green leafy day.
It's officially spring.
We're a green leafy show. Oh yeah, like spring. I guess I didn't think about that. In the last couple of days, it officially became spring. Fuck you, winter. Fuck out of here.
It seemed like a long one.
Right? With the cold. Not a lot of snow.
No.
But the cold. Oh, the cold. Oh, the cold. We had the type of days this winter where I'm on the golf course in the middle of July. It's hot as balls and everyone's complaining. I'm like, nope, I ain't gonna bitch. Cause I hate that shit we had this winter more than I hate being hot in the sun.
Yes. Yeah, I deal much better in the heat than I do in the cold.
Fuck that cold. When it says wind chill minus anything, the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Just stay inside. Is what it should say. Like, don't go outside.
So we're back. We had a couple weeks off. You had to do some traveling, huh?
Yeah, I was went to Macon, Georgia for 2 weeks to train for my new job.
Macon.
Macon. And I traveled with
How do you spell that?
MACON.
Okay.
And I traveled with the vape pen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, on the plane? Yeah.
Well, it's too. I read about, I know the source I'm citing here, but I was reading on Reddit, about a lot of people's experiences. And it essentially was, it breaks it down to like pretty much travel with edibles and vape pens, i.e. things that don't look like drugs.
Right.
And you're fine. Because TSA aren't cops, and they're not looking for that shit.
Exactly. It's not a bust for them.
Yeah. And it gave some...
They're not looking to fill a quota and write you a ticket.
Yeah. And gave some pointers too, like ladies throw it in, like, it basically said throw it in bags with a lot of shit that looks like it. So it's like ladies throw them in your makeup bags, guys throw them in your shaving kits, or throw them in a bag where you, like what I did is, I was traveling, I got a man bag now. The shoulder bag, a satchel, I believe it was called in The Hangover. Laptop bag with a strap, whatever. And just had, I had a bag where I put all my cables when I was traveling, and also threw all my nicotine vape stuff in it as well. Yep. And the unit that I had, we'll get to that in a minute, looked like a tiny little mod. So I was just like, I'll throw it in here. It'll just look like a battery pack. Plus two, I got vape coils and vape juice, so that as well. And sure enough, my bag just cruised down through.
Yep. Yeah, I took one that was I had it in two parts. So I put the actual drug itself in my pocket because the cartridge was so small. It's a Stizzy Pod that it just goes right into the watch pocket and nobody ever knew. And the battery went into the toiletries bag. I guess that's what they call it, toiletries.
Yeah. And what the bummer was, I was going to bring 2 cartridges, so we were out after the first week. I was like, so got a little detox the second week.
My edibles, I took out of the package that identified them as cannabis and put them in a plastic sandwich bag and put them in my satchel with my nuts.
Ha.
Almonds, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like you had a bunch of snacks, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. So did that, and didn't even flinch. Wasn't even doing the whole, side-eyeing and, because, right, it's like the things you look like from, trying to buy alcohol and you're underage. Like,
right.
don't look, just bitch, be cool. As Samuel L. Jackson would have said. So yeah, didn't even flinch. So
No, they do not care.
yeah, not at all. I said, but the bummer was, damn, I should have brought the second one I wanted to bring.
Now y'all don't get cocky.
Right.
And think that you're gonna like carry some weight through and like just, you know, if you got your personal shit, they ain't looking for that.
Yeah. Yeah, even read about some things and on Reddit where people were like, they just took it out of they took it out, opened it up, looked at me and just let me go.
Yep.
And the main piece of advice too is don't put it in your checked baggage. Put it in your carry-on stuff.
Yeah. That's why. Well, why? Because like the check stuff they go through more.
So yes.
Because they X-ray the stuff that you take on. So is it common practice to like rifle through? Do they actually like physically inspect?
Oh, I've
bags?
checked my bag a few times and gotten a sticker on it. Pretty much said, "Hey, we went through your bag."
Yeah.
And two, the other thing is the occasional dog goes through the checked bag.
Oh yeah.
They're sniffing for explosives, but
Well, they had a dog that was going through the line. Like you had to go through a section of the line where a dog was pacing up and down.
I mean, the other thing that made me just not sweat it as much too is, I think I told the story a couple times on this podcast, at the time where I had a half a joint in my pocket and forgot about it.
Oh, that's right.
Cruised right through security. Look, remember standing at the gate going, man, it smells like weed. Oh, that's me.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So I guess that's the other reason why I really want to sweat. And again, they're not, TSA aren't cops. They turn you over to the cops. And in Michigan, they're going to be like, you did what? You brought us here for what? Give it to them or throw it out. Stop wasting our time. It's legal in Michigan. That's what the local cops are going to say. We're here for what?
What about the device you brought? Did it let you down?
Oh, well, my device, no, I let me down.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I've had this thing for almost 2 years. R.I.P. What's the name of the Yocan? Or what do you have it, right?
Yeah. I have a Yocan device. It does wax, or I think I can put the right coil in it to do plant matter as well.
Yeah. Well, just when I went to go throw the cartridge out when we were leaving our I don't use the right, our VRBO. I want to give credit where credit is due, because the other one fucked us. In the end, they ended up not fucking us, but there's a little end piece that you had to screw to the cartridge that magnetized it to the inside of the mod.
Yeah.
And, I'd remembered for almost 2 years, every cart, even fished it out of the trash a couple times, like, oh shit, I need the little metal piece. Well, tossed it in Georgia.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, I get back home like, son of a bitch. But at least I realized it before I went to the dispensary. So, at this point, I have now joined Stizzy Nation. With
you got a Stizzy, yeah?
And Rich. And yeah, looking at this.
Oh, Rich likes the Stizzy too?
Oh yeah, Rich got himself a Stizzy a while ago as well. Yeah, this bitch, I would have no qualms about with this thing.
Yeah. I love it because it's great. Like,
it looks like a jewel.
When I go to, if I go to a party or a club or something like that, I've got that in my left pocket, my vape and my nicotine vape in the right pocket. And nobody says shit about it.
And I even opted I got the bigger one, the 1.5. They're like, do you want the 1.5, the one that holds 1.5 times more for $5 more bucks? Sure, why not?
Yeah. It's a little bit thicker than the actual pod, right? That's the one I have.
Yeah.
It's a better hold too. It's a better hand feel. Like the thinner one feels like I would drop it all the time.
Yeah, but these look like jewels. These look like. So I would have no qualms about going through airport security with this at all.
I've had really good luck with the pods. Everything is going to get clogged up at some point. But on these, it's mostly what you have to watch. It's right at the top. You'll notice it'll get like a kind of webbing over the hole that you toke through. And you just take a toothpick and, just scrape some of that gummy resin out.
I just know these pods hit harder than those cartridges, man.
Dude, the pods.
I only need a couple of hits, man.
Yeah. Are you getting the CDT pods?
Charles, what now?
So there's two different pods to get. the regular ones have a little bit of flavoring in them, and the CDT are it's cannabis derived terpenes.
I had the one that's weed flavored.
Yeah, so you got the CDT ones, and that's the one to get, not the fucking like strawberry shit and that stuff.
You know,
Those-
fuck that.
those-
I want weed flavored weed.
Yeah.
So and then also I realized, well, that's my buddy shake down his son and confiscated a breeze
Yeah.
and gave it to me, and I was like, man, why don't I just vape like this now? And realized, oh, I got a little Novo that I bought a couple years ago when like my mod broke on a Sunday, and so I'm gonna start getting. You put the Salt Nick in there, and they got the Salt Nick and flavor in the juice that I have. So I've decided all of a sudden to go from all box to all slim in one fell swoop in the vape department.
Okay, so what's up with the salts then? I don't get that, how it works.
The salt, if you have a pod vape device, like if your vape device is trying to rip off Juul, it's more concentrated in nicotine and in flavor, since you're not doing the sub-ohm, since you're not doing the big mod box.
Oh, okay. All right. I might try it out then. But I kind of I don't like the big clouds. I don't like a lot of nicotine per se, although I do vape the higher concentration, I guess.
Well, so no, once I hit this breeze, I was like, man, that's super flavorful. How come my mod box doesn't do this? And I realized, oh, I could be doing it with that little Novo stick that I bought a few years ago.
What's the Novo stick then?
It's just a smock or a smoke, just a pod.
Oh, okay.
Instead of coils, you buy pods.
Yeah, so that's what I have. I have the 1X version of that. It's about the same size as the battery, the Stizzy battery that you have, but it's a little bit thicker, and it's got a pod for it that I can refill.
So you do got a pod vape.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So
yeah, but I just use the regular vape shit in it, the regular juice.
I can use the regular in mine as well, but like
you're saying that like the salts work better with the pod systems?
That's what they're for.
That's what they're for. I didn't know that. I thought the salts were for the rebuildable shit.
No.
Okay.
No, that's after hitting this breeze.
No, the place I go to, nobody knows shit up there.
Because after hitting this breeze and hitting my mod, I'm like highly disappointed. Like, man.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the market is going to, you're either going to be doing rebuildable stuff in huge clouds, or you just want a disposable.
Yeah, but the prices for the disposable versus what you pay for when you actually have your own device.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's so stupid.
Just tell them, like, listen, I buy, especially, and even you go to salts, like, listen, I tell them, like, I buy a thing of juice. If I vape heavy, I buy a thing of juice every 2 weeks, but I buy a thing of juice every month, and then I buy coils every month, and that's it. And then it's like $20 a month, times 12. I'm spending a couple $100 a year. These breezes I hear last like a week. They're $10. That's $40 a month. That's twice as much money.
Yep.
Why would you do that? And
convenience.
People are always just in the initial cost. But I'll tell you, that Novo stick was like $25, $30.
Yeah, my device, they had them at the place I went to today. They're $24. I've had two of them.
It no longer takes initially it took you like $50 to $100 to get into vaping. Now, not anymore. And by the way, the footnote on this story too, I thought of as well. When we were kids, right? It smells like a cigarette in here. My buddy literally was like, I went in the bathroom, it smelled like strawberries. Like, called him in there, like, listen, it smells like strawberries in the bathroom. I was like, man, how times have changed. It smells like fruit in here, get in here. But yeah, just tired of carrying around 2 boxes. But now there's the challenge of get 2 things I could easily lose.
Oh yeah. Well, my thing is, I always have to go fish it out of my car. Right.
I've already had to do that.
Whichever one that I was currently smoking, the other one's either in the seat, or it's sometimes slipped, in that little pocket in between the seat, like next to the door. Not the actual door pocket, but so it like almost slips underneath the seat, and I have to fish it out. But yeah, it's inevitable that I had to do it today. But fuck it, like. They're built well. This this Geek Vape device, like it's not the tactical one that I bought, the heavy duty one, which is still lasted. But I've dropped this thing a number of times, and it just still keeps going.
You remember I had that mod that could, I had a mod that could like take a bullet.
Yeah.
There's one that could like drop into like a 6 foot deep pool. It would still survive, one of those kind of shits. Because at the time I said, give me the mod for people who work outside. He's like, here you go.
Oh, yeah. So I saw that Batman movie. I saw that Batman movie twice.
You saw The Batman?
I saw The Batman. The Batman.
The Batman? You're redubbing it?
It was, yes. Yeah, I will call it The Batman because.
Really?
Yes.
That's a bold statement.
I know, and
a couple guys named Christian and Michael would be like, what'd you say?
Sure, and I've gotten a lot of pushback from people like, well, nothing's going to beat the Dark Knight. I'm like, look, The Dark Knight is a good movie. It's a good action movie, and that's all it is. And Batman's a more complex character than that. And this shows some of that complexity. And this story is unique in that we actually get to see this version of Batman change and grow. Because this is Batman in his third year. So it's early.
Junior year Batman?
Yeah, he's still a little green, but we're established enough so that we don't have to go through training montages or, pearls clattering on the alleyway, when his parents get shot again. We don't have to see any of that again. We're dropped into like, hey, Batman. So here's Batman, but this is still kind of wet behind the ears Batman. And
he's swinging and missing.
Yeah, he really is. No, there's a scene. I didn't even catch it the first time, but the big reveal of the Batmobile, he's got this like muscle car that looks like it's just tricked out with a jet engine. It's not the like all the fins and devices and everything or the tank like things that we've seen in other movies. It's just it's a straight up car. I mean, if I knew about cars, I could tell you the model of it. And when he starts that car up and you see it for the first time, and it's supposed to be like, it's this very ominous scene. The headlights come on in the dark and they shine on the villains, and Penguin is there with his henchmen, and they're all like, oh shit, he's got a car with a fucking jet strapped to it. And he starts revving the engine and he stalls it out and he has to start the car again. And it's just little things like that happen in it where he takes some punches, but it also, so it's showing a little bit more of a vulnerable Batman in that respect, but it's also showing a much stronger Batman in all the other aspects that I know from the comics, mainly the detective aspect. This is where Batman came from. Detective Comics. It was Batman first appeared in Detective Comics and then became so popular that eventually Detective Comics was just also Batman Comics. So the two of the longest running DC Comics series are Detective Comics and the Batman series, and they've run concurrently. Like you could read two completely separate Batman stories at any given time in the history of DC Comics, pretty much.
Is there a scene where one of the horns is bent?
One of the horns? Oh,
he gets hit. One of them's bent.
Yeah.
Oh.
He gets shot a lot, but he doesn't really get he's protected by his suit. So I could have done with some more this Batman's getting really fucked up, but that's fine. I didn't really miss it. And I could have used a little bit more of Bruce Wayne, but I like the Bruce Wayne that we got. Again, it's a younger one, so he's just petulant. He's fucking broody.
He's just crushing ass.
He's emo. He's emo as fuck.
Some emo dudes crush a lot of ass.
Well, I mean, I don't think he doesn't actually get with. I don't know if they sleep together, but him and Catwoman kind of kindle something.
Do you listen to The Cure a lot? Some Bauhaus.
No, it's all there's like 2 songs in the whole soundtrack: Ave Maria and that Nirvana song that's in the trailer, Something in the Way. Is that what the song's called? I can't remember if that's the name of the song or if that's just the chorus. But not only are those the only 2 songs that are really featured in the movie, all of the soundtrack work I was noticing is all themes on those 2 songs. So when they wanted lighter moments for like Catwoman or something, they would take parts from Ave Maria and do a little like string arrangement with that.
Probably you have to pay for that one. That song's old.
Right. Or
let's spend all the money on this one.
The Batman theme, really like Something in the Way is the Bruce Wayne theme. But we get like a bum, 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 big ominous Batman theme in the movie, which is really great. It sounds a bit like the beginning of the Darth Vader theme, the march.
Yeah.
The
Imperial March.
Yeah, the Imperial March. Thank you. But look, there's only so many fucking notes. All right, like. But the Batman theme, it's the same chords from Something in the Way. So I thought it was interesting. I mean, and I was excited for it just knowing that Matt Reeves was involved. He wrote and directed this. He's responsible for the excellent Planet of the Apes reboot, not the Mark Wahlberg one, the good one.
I don't know which one is the good one. Is it the latest one?
Yeah, they had a whole trilogy. They're really good movies.
I'll watch movies.
So this Batman, he was a detective, right? He actually did something, and it wasn't anything like mind blowing, but he knew how to follow the clues. Paul Dano, I thought, was really great. What's his name who played the Penguin? Colin Farrell.
I heard he was the Penguin.
He was not only like completely unrecognizable, but absolutely captivating.
And it kind of went the other way from Danny DeVito for this one, huh? It's definitely 2 ends of the scale.
Oh, between the casting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
just looks.
Yeah. Well, also, like, this was a more realistic portrayal of the Penguin. He wasn't grotesque like he had, pointy teeth. He didn't get dragged into the water by a bunch of penguins
right
when he left. And he's going to be back. There's a series that they're going to do with Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
There you go. Get that comic book movie money, son.
They're doing a Penguin series. They're doing a Catwoman series. So we're going to see more of Zoe Kravitz, which I can't see enough of Zoe Kravitz, to be honest. She is just so smoking hot in this movie, and really good too.
So she's Halle Berry 2.0. I mean,
she's doing a lot of work in this movie because, like, I thought Bruce Pattinson was great. I thought his Bruce Wayne was great. It wasn't a full vision of the Bruce Wayne that we know, but again, this is a younger Bruce Wayne. Right? He's still fucked up and dealing with shit, and he's not dealing with it well, and he hasn't learned how to be the billionaire playboy type that we know from other movies. But I think we'll see that. We're going to get this movie was extremely successful, so we're going to get another Batman movie, and we're probably going to get a whole trilogy out of it. And I'm very confident at the end of that trilogy, people will be saying, "Oh, I get it now." And yes, Matt Reeves really does understand Batman better than any of these other directors, and has showed us the full vision, and has showed us, a Batman that actually learns from his mistakes. He starts off the beginning of this movie talking about vengeance and how he represents vengeance. And then when the tables start to turn on him by the end of the second act, the henchmen that he's going up against are claiming that they're vengeance, like they're getting revenge for things that Batman has done to them, right? And you realize, well, what is vengeance? It's just it's an Ouroboros, right? It's a never-ending cycle. Somebody will constantly be getting revenge for something, and then someone will have to get revenge for that and revenge for that. Where does that leave anybody?
Just a bunch of dead bodies.
Right. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. So he realizes by the end of this movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but he realizes that he can actually be something more than that. Like, yeah, he can. I'm still going to punch the hell out of these guys who deserve it, but I'm also a billionaire. I'm also I'm also a person that others look up to, and I could be an example, and I can help. It's the start of Batman realizing the scope of his vision, and that's the thing is, like, the Christian Bale Batman was all punchy, and it was great punchy, and there were great performances. I love both those actors. I love the director. I think the whole movie is fantastic, but it's an action movie portrayal of a limited scope of a character that has a lot more complexity that I know. You know, I've read the last 2 decades and more of Batman comics. I know this character, and I saw that character on the screen for the first time.
This is
not just a
fully realized Batman.
Yeah. Well, no. Again, like a complex Batman. This is not the fully realized Batman. We are yet to see that. This is the beginnings of the Batman, the full Batman.
This is Batman with a journal.
Oh, for sure. No, he straight up does.
The deep contemplative Batman.
Yes.
Writes down how he felt about the battles.
So they do something in this movie that I absolutely love. And, you know, everyone talked about the Christopher Nolan movies. They're like, oh, he brought Batman, like he made him real, right? He made it all make sense and feel like, you know, this could happen in our world. Yeah, really? Yeah, but he still put a shit ton of eyeliner so you wouldn't see the white skin around his eyes under the mask. But then you never saw, like, he would take his mask off and it wasn't there. So how does that work? And in this movie, you know, Robert Pattinson's version of the Batman has all the black goop around the eyes so that you can just see the eyes and get that Batman effect from the comics. But when he takes the helmet off, he's got all this black shit smeared on his face and he looks all fucking emo. He looks like, you know, he's the new bass player for The Cure.
That's it, and then The Cure kicks on.
Yeah, but again, I mean, like, I think he's playing younger than, I don't know how old Robert Pattinson is, but he's probably got to be getting up there. Like, Twilight was a while ago, right? But he's playing, like, I would say 20 really well.
It's Batman who goes to the City Club.
Yeah. He goes to the City Club. Well, it's not the City Club, but he goes to a club where they're playing techno, and it's Detroit techno by Kevin Saunderson.
Wow. I feel like that's a little on the nose.
And he goes to that club. He goes 3 times, actually. I think he goes once as Batman, once as Bruce Wayne, and another time in disguise.
I say another time in drag.
Yeah, and all 3 times he just knocks on the door.
You just look so dark and brooding, we know to let you in.
So yeah, no, I was so impressed with the movie that I had to go see it again. And it's going to be coming to streaming before too long, actually, pretty soon. I think they said it was like 45 days now from the release date in theaters. It'll be up on HBO Max. And maybe people will enjoy it more in that format, because an honest critique of it, I'd have to give it to the people who say it's a bit long. Yeah, 3 hours is a bit much for that movie. And there was plenty of parts that they could have, you know, just shortened scenes. It didn't not cut anything out or any dialogue or anything. Just like, do we need to see the whole car ride or something?
Hey man, Rotten Tomatoes, 85 with critics, 88 with the audience.
Not only is it high, but they actually agree. Like
Yeah.
they rarely do the critics and audience get that close.
Yeah.
Especially on this type of content.
Looks like it's a worthwhile Batman movie.
I can't imagine why anybody would be mad at this. I get it. If you know Batman from the movies and you love Batman from the movies, well, this is a different Batman from the other movie.
Where's my ass kicking Batman?
Yeah. Oh, but he does. Like, he kicks plenty of ass, though. But he doesn't shoot a gun, and I appreciate that. And he has the fight. Actually, all the combat in this was extremely reminiscent of the Batman video games, the Arkham games.
Oh, really?
Yes, very much so. Even with he has the shock gauntlets where you can like punch you and it'll shock. It'll like it's like a taser.
Oh shit!
And he uses his cape to like kind of like swoop guys and like knock them down.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
So what else? Have you watched anything interesting?
No.
You've been too busy.
Yeah, I've been doing things.
You've been really busy.
No, I haven't. At this point, TV's something I put on when I go to sleep. So I put on something familiar, just to have noise in the background.
You know, it's a pretty good show. Is Severance?
I keep hearing this.
Yeah, with what's his name from Parks and Rec?
There's a few what's his names. Aziz.
No, the one who married her, married Leslie.
Adam Scott.
Yes, Adam Scott is in it. Yeah, he's really good. He's got to do a lot of the work. It's not like it's a real solid cast, not really deep, but like an amazingly solid cast. Well, you've got John Turturro's in it. You've got Christopher Walken. You've got what's her name? From True Romance.
Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette is in it,
according to the intranet.
And it's about a guy who he works for this company that, in order to keep their whatever it is that they're doing secret, they hire employees that have a special procedure where a chip is implanted into their head that allows them to like switch personalities. So when you enter the door at this place of business, you literally switch into work mode, and you have the personality of somebody who has, well, essentially never left that building, right? They only know what's inside that building, because when they go back out the door, they switch into the other personality of their outside personality. And that way, you know, they can have employees work on whatever top secret shit it is that they do, and there's not a chance of them, you know, leaking information or selling information.
It's like The Matrix meets Free Guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. That Free Guy was a really disappointing movie, by the way. I couldn't finish it. It's really charming, and then it just goes absolutely nowhere.
I also couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
I saw, I think maybe 40 minutes of it.
I think that's about where I lasted. And then when they started like finally kicking into gear of like, this is what the movie's going to be, I'm like, that's what the movie's going to be? That's fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Reynolds' charm only takes you so far.
Yeah.
You need a plot.
Yes, sir.
Or if you do have the plot, it needs to start unfolding a lot fucking quicker.
Yeah, so Severance, I don't want to talk too much more about it because it is a mystery.
Everybody who fucking says that says the same thing. Like, oh, if I say too much about it, it gives it away.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not like there's huge. Well, I guess there are some pretty big twists in it. Yeah, I don't know, but like if you like mysteries that are kind of quirky and you don't mind, you know, shows that can run a little slow sometimes, I think you'd dig it.
I just got so much TV in my life. Until I'm about to get rid of TV. My contract's up. See a cable. Because I really don't need it. They're going to be like, well, don't you? No, at this point, no. With the services I got, I know how to watch TV. I watch the TV I need to watch. So I might toss HBO Max in there.
You got to keep HBO Max.
Oh, I lost the login in the marriage. In the divorce, so got to get my own. Can't beat that low price of free. But I heard Netflix is going to charge for sharing your ID. So I mean, I'm sure if they got that technology, Everyone else will start getting it,
Oh boy, we're a long way from sharing is caring, huh?
right?
And that, like, Netflix used to be like, yeah, go ahead. Share your password. Let everybody enjoy the benefits of Netflix. But, you know, that was when they had, like, no competition.
Yeah, now now the new Netflix is fuck you, pay me.
Yeah. No, like I've said it many times on this podcast. Their prices keep going up and their quality keeps going down. So at this point, Netflix is like a twice a year purchase for me. I'll check in, watch the shows that people are talking about, see what's good, and then I'm done.
Like just enough to catch up on just to hold your own at the water cooler,
Yeah.
and then we'll see you again in 6 months.
Yeah. I think I'll probably eventually watch, you know, the last season of, what's Bateman's show?
Oh, Ozark.
Yeah, Ozark. I want to at least see where they land on that. I mean, they went off the rails on that last season, but still got a really strong cast.
Everyone seems to that seems to be the order of the day lately. Shows going off the rails.
Yeah.
It's like you're running out of ideas this quickly. Remember when you had to do like 9 seasons?
Well, yeah, but also that was when people were willing to put up with that. Like, you know, if the friends are getting into the same situations they were last season, well, it's still a new one. But I think people are more demanding now. And so I think it's a lot harder to go into a show and just kind of wing it. We'll see how it comes together and then, just constantly write ourselves into the next year of the show just to keep it going.
No more filler garbage.
But people want actual ends to their stories.
Yeah, you hear that? Person who wrote Inception?
What? Inception has an end?
No, it doesn't. It's one of those choose your own adventure endings.
Well, it definitively ends. It just leaves a little bit up to you to decide what's real or not.
Yeah, it's not an ending. Was he in the dream or wasn't he? I need to know. I gots to know.
I gots to know. I don't know. Like, I think we're going to see a lot more limited series.
That seems to be a thing. No commitment. You get big name stars.
Then they got Rosario Dawson for a 4-part HBO series called DMZ, which is based on a comic book. So I read a little bit of that comic and I didn't recognize any of that in the show. And I watched 2 episodes of it, of the 4, and then decided that it was kind of ridiculous.
It's not a situation comedy where DMX works on TMZ.
No. No, it's about a war that had, like, at some point in the past, war had broken out, and for whatever reason, essentially Manhattan is like, it's not even a sovereign country. It's like nothing.
It's like Mad Max times.
Yeah. So it's Escape from New York.
Gotcha. Instead of Kurt Russell, you get Rosario.
Yeah. But she's great.
Do they call her Snake?
No. But, yeah, I mean, she's not the problem I have with it. It's just, it has this, I hate to say it, it has a very comic booky idea of culture in general, I think. It's just, I don't know. Like everything is like hip hop and urban culture in there.
Oh.
You know, so like they have to elect a leader for their demilitarized zone and try and establish like some kind of government there.
Do they have a rap battle for it?
Yeah, essentially.
Really?
I mean, it was like the scene in Idiocracy, only it was a debate. Like you had 2 guys like they were yelling at each other like wrestlers and shit.
Wow. That blows my mind. That's supposed to be a joke. You're like, no, that's how this would happen.
Yeah,
like the rap battle from 8 Mile. She put her hood up. Interesting. Writers make good money. We could be writers.
Right. Yeah, we could have ideas.
Better ideas than that.
We could go, hey, let's make that comic into a show.
Right. Well, is it the fault of the comic? Did they just make a bad comic into a show?
No, because I haven't read the whole series, but like I said, I've read some of it. I think I read like the first trade on it, and yeah, I mean it was it barely resembled what I saw on the screen, so I don't think it was any fault of the comic. DMZ is, I think that's Jason Aaron who wrote that.
Sounds right to me.
No, it was
See?
a DC comic. It's written by Brian Wood. Okay. So no, I just think it's a bad adaptation.
Can't all be winners.
Well, I think they just took like the visual elements of the story and kind of made their own story around it.
Well, it's not, then it's,
Yeah, they should have just called it something else.
is it really an adaptation?
Well, they took the name and paid the artist, so they're adapting it.
Right, to the people who got paid. They're like, yeah, sure.
Well, actually, I mean, it's not an independently owned comic, so that would just been DC that got the money. They might have some sort of royalty set up where Brian Wood would get paid out. But generally, that doesn't happen. Well, I shouldn't say generally. Like, obviously, there's been a lot of superhero movies that make a lot of high-profile money. And while they don't have, from what I understand, established contracts for this type of stuff, you know, if they use like Ed Brubaker's story for for Captain America: Civil War, or I'm sorry, for the Winter Soldier movie, you know, Ed Brubaker gets a credit on the movie, and he gets a little bit of cash. But I mean, like, it sounds like it's peanuts compared to, you know, what they're really making off of it. You make $1 billion off of a movie, and then you turn to the guy who came up with the idea for the story that you made into a movie, and you're like, hey, here's $20,000. Go buy yourself a used car. But
Go home and get your fucking shine box.
but it's better than nothing, you know, and that's when people go to work for DC and Marvel, they understand what they're working on. You know, they want to contribute to the universe that all the many other great artists and writers have contributed to before them. But you don't get to take your toys home, and you don't get to sell them to somebody else. They're not yours.
What's going on with the reefer?
I don't know, not much really.
I guess you, as always, best kind of case scenario answer.
Well, I mean, we know that we've got, at some point, they're going to have to vote on this SAFE Act, this banking act. And it does sound like that, you know, we're getting not only closer to that, but maybe this could actually pass. But the big push now is to try and get this on the president's desk before midterms.
Before shit gets...
Right. Because then it's just, it'll always be on the back burner. Right. Of course, you know, we've got a lot of other shit going on still, but look, we need to fucking take care of this. So there's been a big push. The lobbyists that represent the cannabis industry, which make up more than 20 chief executives and more than 20 chief executives. This is from the Hill of top cannabis companies, urge lawmakers in both parties to pass the Safe Banking Act. Curaleaf CEO Joe Bayern said in an interview, there is certainly momentum building around trying to get something done this year in the Senate. On both the Republican and Democratic side, we're seeing consensus for safe banking as being the piece of legislation that could pass.
So, hey, this is the one we think could work.
Yeah, hopefully they're right. I don't know. I mean, like it was a unanimous vote on daylight savings time the other day, so there's hope. Who knows? We could all be surprised. There's a recent YouGov survey. What did it say? 27% agreed. That's not a majority. 27% agreed that it'd be ideal if people used more cannabis instead of booze, whereas 20% said that would be a bad idea.
What about the other 53%?
However,
opinion?
Most respondents, 38%, said it would be neither good nor bad, and an additional 15% said they weren't sure.
Well, that's 53.
Okay, but so it's not most, it's more Americans say, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you got to start somewhere, I guess.
That seems like I would land in the I'm not sure, because my answer would probably be that's a pretty stupid question.
How many people said what?
Well, it would be ideal if people used more cannabis instead of use what you want. Right? I think it would be ideal if everybody used whatever drugs they wanted to, or if they didn't want to use any, they didn't, and they were all fine with that, and they were all mentally healthy. That would be ideal. What is this ideal? Like, is this based on, people really still sit around and smoke weed and go, it would be better if the whole world smoked weed. Man, if they could just get Vladimir and Vladimir together and just clam bake them in a fucking Volkswagen, man, that would solve all this Ukraine bullshit. Is that what we're doing? Is that what anybody's doing?
I'll bring the Bob Marley, man. We'll get high.
I'm not even sure I understand the question here.
We'll get the guitars, man. We'll figure it out.
Would it be good or bad if the average American drank less alcohol and used more marijuana? I don't know. That's like a personal decision. How do you can't make that decision en masse. I mean, not everybody likes cannabis. And a lot of those people who don't like cannabis, it's not because they have no experience with it or think that, it's only something losers do. It's something that they've tried before and it doesn't agree with them. They have a bad experience with cannabis. I know plenty of people like that. It's not a bad, I don't sit around and go, well, the world would be better if you just smoked more. I'm not like, oh, you just haven't smoked the right kinds. No, I assume that you're an adult who is, experimented and came to a decision. That doesn't need to be second guessed.
Yeah, like that die is cast. Like you're either smoking weed or you're not. Or you're using cannabis or you're not. I mean, that's just funny. I call it smoking weed. I'd rarely smoke weed anymore. It's all vaping or eating.
I do it all. I got vape, I got cannabis, I got edibles.
Whatever way you want. Hey, listen, you're a weedsman.
That's right.
It's in the name. God damn it.
Well, I'm a professional.
Yes. Go try this at home, kids.
Yeah.
I tell you, when I was going to fly, I went to buy my edible for flying before I left. They were like, hey, there's 200 milligrams on sale. I'm like, no, too much. That flight is an hour and a half. That is a cross-country edible. 200 milligrams. And even then, too high. Took my 100 milligram.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's broken up, right? You don't have to eat all 200 milligrams.
Yeah, but I'm gonna if I have it.
That's right. That's a good point. Well, they're saying that prices in Michigan are going to be going down, that they are going down.
Really?
Let's see. Rick Panagua, founder and CEO of Canavista Wellness in Buchanan. That's in Michigan? There's a Buchanan, Michigan?
Yes.
Yeah. He says prices have been dropping since day one and they continue to drop. No, I said that. And, so let's see. According to the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, the price for an ounce of marijuana has dropped about 40% from $252 an ounce in January 21 to $152 an ounce in January of this year. Of course, that always, that begs the question, are we just talking about flower? Because if so, then we're not really talking about the entire market. Price per, I get $2.52 an ounce. That sounds like retail price. It tells me that you're actually selling the cannabis, right? That's not, I think a better metric if you're going, it would be like how much is the wholesale price of an ounce of cannabis, because that's the cannabis that's going to get processed into everything else, right? It's going to be not only the flower that gets sold, but the vape, the edibles, and everything else. So while flower, and I have seen it gone down, not tremendously in my area, but I have seen it gone down. Again, I buy some of it, but not a ton of it. It's not the majority of what I buy. I buy a little bit so I can have it. But mostly I'm doing edibles and vape, like you said. And I don't see that going down. Once you set a price of 100 milligrams, it's about $10. How do you go down from that?
Right.
Stizzy Pod, $40. Or actually, Stizzy Pods did go down. It used to be 45 for the CDTs and 40 for the regular. Now it's 40 and 35. So the price actually did come down on those. But I think that's more about the more widespread use of the pods. At the time when Stizzy came out, there were a lot of other competing pods on the market. Some of those have fallen by the wayside, and Stizzy has grown. And I think that's why they're able to reduce their prices. I don't think this is any reflection on the availability or price per ounce on anything. So I don't know. I don't think that prices right now are outrageous. as long as the taxes don't go out of control, I think we're fine. Availability is good.
Hey, they're suspending the gas tax, man. Let's suspend the weed tax.
Yeah, are they actually going to suspend the gas tax?
Gretchen wants to, but we'll see.
Well, the Democrats are talking about $100 tax credit or something. They're just going to give us $100 for gas money. Like, thanks, Dad.
Hey, I'll take $100.
I will too. But I don't think that's an answer. But
It's a start. Anything more with the weeds?
I don't think so. Let's see. No, a UK lawyer dons vegan hemp wig as alternative to horsehair. Disrupting
What?
centuries-long tradition. Wow. So people were actually upset at the fact that the guy who, along with all of his colleagues, was wearing a completely ridiculous-looking and obviously fake wig that was made out of something other than horsehair.
Thank God it wasn't pube hair.
Yeah, it could have been worse. It's your wife's pubes, it is.
Gross.
Hemp is a notoriously tough material, and I do not anticipate there being any issues with wear and tear, but there's always a risk. You know why? Oh, that's why they're upset? It's not going to last as long as horsehair? Well, anyway. So, yeah, the answer is no. There's no more cannabis news.
All right. Well, then that's going to do it. Find us on social media. Like us on Facebook at the Weedsman podcast, on Twitter at the Weedsman420. Drop us an email, the Weedsman podcast at ChristopherMedia.net if you'd like to communicate with us that way. At ChristopherMedia.net, you can hit the PayPal button. You can hit the Amazon banner if you'd like to help us out. And wherever you listen to the show, please rate us, review us. That helps people find the show. 1 to 5 stars, whatever you want. We take the criticism. We're not above learning to do better. It's 2022. You have to learn to do better at something. That's how it goes now. It's the way of the world. 1 to 5 stars. The kind words.
Although, you have to imagine, like, if you're rating a podcast 1 star, what did it do to you?
Right? What did you do to the show that you get for free? What did it do to you?
Yeah.
We've been free for this long. Unless Spotify comes with the Joe Rogan money, we ain't going to start now charging for it.
If you're giving 1-star reviews, look inside your heart.
Come on, man. Yeah, you think it do.
I think we're worth 2.
Yeah. So if you could do that for us, we would appreciate it. Please and thank you. And other than that, stay high.
Stay high.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.